chefs on the service team behind me on these two sides, and everybody else on this side. So you can see So, how I'm gonna do them all? I'm gonna do them all without the ice cream, and then we'll do the ice cream at the end, because otherwise the ice cream's gonna be all melted by the time you're trying. So we're gonna start with the mango. So when you're on the station, one person every day is gonna be an expediter. They're in charge of getting the bills from our machine over there, coming in, and they'll say, "Kitchen may I?" Ordering 1 mango, 1 lemon, 1 apple. Everybody's gonna say,
Yes, chef.
"Yes, chef." Perfect, thank you. So the expediter also has to make a dessert because we have 5 desserts and there's 5 people on a team. They make the mango. The mango is very fast. Scoop, place, done. All. So they can do the mango dessert while managing all of the other plates. Because as the other plates come from the other stations, the expediter is in charge of putting the ice cream on them. So that's why you'll see we have all of our containers for all of our ice creams labeled, making sure that we're not cross-contaminating the different ice cream scoops. As well as, I recommend having a dry cloth with your ice cream scoops so you're not getting water dripping all over the plates as you're doing it. If there is drips on the plate or there's fingerprints on the plate, do your best to always carry plates on the underside, not on top. So if you have oily fingers, you're not leaving fingerprints, but that's what this is for. So a little cleaner vinegar with paper towel, vinegar takes off and dissolves fats. So it gets rid of those little watermarks that are on the plate. The blue plates are very notorious for that. You can see in the lighting all of the watermarks and smudges from our dishwashing machine. It's very hard to get rid of them. So just always have that little vinegar go in to dissolve it, and then take the dry side to wipe it away because we don't want to leave a bunch of vinegar on the plate either. But it shines it up for the most part on that rib. So always have that ready for the expediter, as well as the expediter, any dainty garnishing. So the little twirls and stuff that might go on top of the ice cream, that'll be the expediter's role as well to put on. If it's larger garnishes that they can put on during the station, that's fine. But anything that you're putting on top of the ice cream, leave it on the expediter station as well. They will also make sure that they have the list of all of the plates. So it's your job as the bills come in, you're gonna be, okay, this bill is for table 14, cross out table 14, and make sure they get their petit fours plate. If everybody saw the petit four plates that our lovely team put together, so those go out at the end of the day, whether they order dessert or not, they will order. So servers sometimes will come up and be like, I'm looking for the petit four plate for table 13, they didn't order dessert. So you'll make sure they're all labeled. And so you're crossing those off, and then you're the one that tells the team, okay, you're done. So sometimes the service team can be done very early. If we have an early night where there's no reservations past 6:30, we can have an early night. It'll be done by 8 o'clock on the service team. And if you're finished that early, you're welcome to go. Same with prep team. If you have a shorter prep list, I'm always going to recommend Capstone is just around the corner. We make the opera cake in this class, we make the rolled truffles, we make creme brulee. Practice at least one of your Capstone components if you have time during the prep station. And then it's 8 o'clock, 8:30, you're good to go. As long as the team is cleaned up and everybody's ready, you leave as a team. You don't have to leave as a class, but you leave as a team. Same with the assignment team. Say you're done your brainstorming early today and you've kind of set up everything for your recipe testing tomorrow, but you don't need anything else today. Just let me know and you're good to go. So usually the service team is the last one to leave because usually you're here till 9:15 when the last table's going on. Sometimes we're lucky, especially if we have special events or buyouts, because those all come in at once and then we're all coming at once, so it's great. So starting off with our mango dessert. So, tapioca pudding. I love tapioca pudding. I love the texture of it. So it's cooked down in coconut sauce. 1 blue scoop. Right in the middle of the plate. And just flatten it down a little bit. It's going to get a little cup. The cup is for the blood orange Kool-Aid. because I don't like to put the blood orange coulis on the plate right away. It doesn't look nice. It looks much nicer if the server takes this out to the table with the plate and pours it in front of the guest. So about a third of the way full with our blood orange coulis. Beside it. And we have our offset. Perfect. So our mango Bavarian. We're gonna lift up right on top of that pudding. A little bit of gluten-free chocolate crumble. So I don't want this on the plate, I just want it to secure the ice cream. It just needs a little bit of traction on top of that Bavarian so that the ice cream won't slide off when the server's trying to get to the table. So just that little bit, I don't want to see it on the pudding at all. And then that's all that's going to go on it until the ice cream. And then when the ice cream's on, we'll put a little bit of gooseberry on top of the ice cream. We'll put our tuile in, and then I'll show you that when we get there later. But that's why that's the fastest one. Scoop, place, crumble, ice cream. Very fast. Next up, we'll do our chocolate dessert. So we'll put that
What's that one?
Thank you.
Mango.
Grab one of our plates. If you wouldn't mind grabbing one of the green.
Sorbet, right? Sorbet.
What?
Sorbet or ice cream?
Bavarian.
No, but the full dessert.
So next up is our
Full name, the name of the dessert.
Oh, it's
So
just
our
a mango.
chocolate is a playful
Just
dessert,
mango.
chocolate, cherry, and beet sauce. So first off is our cherry and beet sauce. And we're gonna do a schmear with the cherry beet sauce. I find it easiest to get a clean schmear if you pipe a dollop and then go in with a spoon. I have lots of spoons. I went thrifting because you'll notice we're not allowed to use high wood spoons because they get lost, they get stolen, they get taken home. So I have a giant array of spoons that will be welcome to everybody. There's different types, there's weird ones, different shapes. Please wash these by hand and just put them back in the station. Don't send them to dish, otherwise they're gonna get mixed up with the heavy stuff anyway. So I'll go in and do a nice smear with that. So that now. And we'll grab one of our gluten-free chocolate cakes. And it's gonna go straight down. Our cherry sauce, squeeze bottle. And a note for everybody, I'm showing you one way to make dessert. This is your only class where you get to make complicated desserts like this. I want you every day on your station, whatever dessert you're making, to try plating it and try it a little bit different. Try switching it out, changing it a little bit, and if we like it, that's what we'll do for the thing. I'm just showing you all the components on the plate one way. If you want to try something different on your day, say you want to learn how to do the quenelles, the rochers with a nice shaped spoon, where you make that perfect little football shape. If you want to do that with your ice cream, by all means. I'm just showing you the very basic to start, and we can fancy it up every day. So, I like to put a little bit of the cherry sauce in there as well, underneath our whipped ganache. So it's important all of our whipped ganaches are whipped to stiff peak, because you'll notice that they get really soupy really fast. It can get really warm in this kitchen very quickly. So, pipe little heart shape, like so. And then we have this beautiful caviar, cherry caviar. And you'll notice at the back of our dinner binder, there's a section called garnishes. So if you're on the service team, you'll find our first dessert orders don't come in until about 7 o'clock or 7:30. So there's a lot of downtime where you might just be like, what do I do now? Make some fun garnishes. I have a whole tray of garnishes, and we have different, so you can do caviar like this, the agar pearls, or you can do the reverse spherification where you have the popping pearls. We have a couple of those as well. We have different foams. We can do hydrate garnishes. We can make all sorts of garnishes. You can try sugar, chocolate garnishes, anything you want to try. And you'll also be talking about what you want to do for a table set as well, but we'll talk about that later. So with the pearls, I'm just going to add a couple on my little chocolate mousse. Like so. And then I'm gonna grab some chocolate shards. These are just tempered chocolate between acetate. And I also have some meringue shards. And we have more in the dehydrator right now. Just to add a little bit of a different color and texture. And then a little bit of the crumble. Again, it's going to be for the ice cream. So the crumble is always a good idea for under ice cream, so the ice cream isn't sliding around. A little bit there. Like so. And then the last thing is we have Amarena cherries. Has anybody tried an Amarena cherry before? These are very expensive cherries. They are delicious. They don't look very pretty right now because they've kind of dried up. But they taste super delicious. If you've only ever had like the Morello cherries that are in the liqueur that are very strong, these are very sweet and flavorful. So just grabbing a cherry and adding it to the edge. Like so. So that's our chocolate. So these two desserts are our gluten-free options. Both of these desserts are completely gluten-free. All right, I'll take that out of the way. Okay, our berry dessert. This is the mango dessert. So it's a mango Bavarian coconut tapioca. And we have our lemon foam. So our olive oil cake. This is our vegan option. So the olive oil cake is completely vegan, egg-free, dairy-free. It does contain gluten and it does contain nuts. So you'll see in bios and functions, what's really important on the dessert menu is diversity for allergens. Nobody just wants a bowl of fruit if they can't eat the dessert. They never want to be the afterthought. They're paying just as much money to be there. So you always want to make sure you can cover as many different allergens as possible. So that's why on most bigger functions, you'll see we have the chocolate dessert and the berry dessert because we cover gluten-free, nut-free, everything else free. Covers all the bases. Thank you. And here I have a suspended foam. We'll talk more about foams tomorrow as well. So on the plate, we have our olive oil cake, and we just cut the very top of it off so that we can soak it with a little bit of simple syrup. Don't pre-soak too much unless you know you're going to have like 10 orders on order on bat, because they will get soggy and fall apart on you. So just soak it to service. And then on top of that, we have our vegan crema. So what's important about the vegan crema is you do not stir it. Because it's vegan, it doesn't have all of those normal fats used to emulsify it, so it's not the most stable. So if you start to stir it, it's going to separate and get very soft. So you just want to scoop it into the bag and keep it in the fridge for the entirety of the service other than when you're using it. And you're just going to pipe a couple nice dollops of that. Notice how I'm holding my piping bag up high, and that allows me to get the nice round shape of my dollop, rather than the poop emoji. If you start low and raise your piping tip, you get the poop emoji. If you start high and let it fill, you get a nice rounded. And then our lemon foam. So this is a suspended foam. Suspended foams use gums and gelling agents as well as emulsifiers to keep the air suspended. So this foam will stay suspended for up to 2 weeks in the fridge. And you can keep whipping it to get it back to the super creamy texture, or if you want it to be looser, larger bubble, kind of like, think of like, it's not the most flattering of term, but dish soap bubbles. Leave it for longer and you'll get a larger bubble structure, and you can scoop it or pipe it as well. You can also dehydrate it. If you want to pass that around and try it, you can dehydrate this foam to make essentially vegan meringue. And you can use it with any fruit. So we'll just add a couple dollops of this. It just gives a different texture and a different look. in a couple nice dots of our raspberry sauce. And then we have oat crumble. It's nice and sour, yeah. It's pure lemon. So that's a really good way to add the essence of a fruit without adding weight to a dish. Because you can just say I have a fruit, mango Bavaria. Mango's a very tricky flavor to get the strong mango flavor. So if you wanted more, you could make a mango foam that you put on top of it that's just going to punch them in the face with mango without making the dish bigger or more to eat. So a little bit of the oat crumble. For the ice cream again. And then our garnish. So we have some glass here. So raspberry glass is very similar product to our raspberry sauce using gel creme. And then we just put in the dehydrator. It's like, for lack of a better term, Listerine strips, if you ever remember the Listerine strips that you just melt on your tongue. It's like that, but with fruit puree. So it's nice and crispy. And you can add a couple large shards. And like that. So that's the basic one. We can also sometimes grab some microgreens. They have extra microgreens on the culinary side to add a little bit of a green touch to the plate. It's always nice as well. But that's it for that one. Raspberry glass. And the recipe again is just under the berry dessert, but you could switch out that fruit puree for anything like personal assignments if you wanted to use that as a garnish. It just takes about a day to fully dehydrate. So we have our first dessert order. Our expediter, if we look to grab our dessert order. Someone must have come for happy hour. What do we got?
One chocolate, one berry.
If you wouldn't mind grabbing the white chocolate ice cream and the lemongrass sorbet, we'll finish those. Thank you. And if someone wants to grab a server, so anybody dressed in black, Martina over there. Perfect. And that's white chocolate. Yeah, perfect.
This is no seat.
No seat just means that our system doesn't do seat. So ignore that, yeah. So this is a perfect opportunity. I can explain the chips, how it works. Has anybody worked in restaurants where they use them? Most of you, perfect. But if you don't know, so at the top here, you're gonna have the server's name. And then under that is gonna be the table number. So that's what you're gonna be using to cross off the tables on that list to make sure you're covering everybody. And then the seat numbers are going to be like the S2, S1. Those are the seat numbers. Table 13, it's for Hillary. Thank you. And if they ever have any allergy or anything, they'll write it in red underneath the dessert item. Lemongrass sorbet. In. Touch onto the dry cloth, get off the water. Flush, scoop, and keep it down while you press it so that you get the nice rounded side. I don't want it flipping upside down. Our white chocolate ice cream is our softest ice cream because it is the white chocolate, the heavy amount of sugar in there. So if you have a dessert order with multiple different desserts on it, always scoop your ice cream for the chocolate last. Even if it's the first dessert order up, scoop it last after everything else is ready. And nice and down. And then we have Hillary here. And your seat 1. And your seat 2. Thank you. And then ice cream's immediately back in the freezer. Thank you very much. Don't worry, the service team, you'll prep another dessert of everything anyway, so everybody will get to taste everything. And on that term, I know we have celiac. Do we have any other allergens in this class? Even if they're not pastry related. Gluten-free as well? Perfect. Thank you. Just because sometimes the culinary science shares with us, so we want to make sure we know if we have any allergens there. So, for the apple tart, could we grab one of the plates? The white plates in the fray, small circle. Has anybody cut a Gâteau Saint-Honoré tip before? In classic dessert, when you did the Gâteau Saint-Honoré, you used a star tip, did you? Okay. So, Saint-Honoré tip is the piping tip in which we can create that sail effect when you pipe it. If you've seen it in videos and everything. So you can buy the tips, or you can use your very large pedal tips, but they're a little skinny, and it's expensive to buy the actual Honoré tip. So you can cut it yourself. A little diagram here. So first off, you're going to cut directly across to create a circle. And then you're going to come in at a very steep angle to cut a notch. So that when we open it up, you have a little circle with a V. Circle with a V at the top. Circle with a V at the top. And you can make that bigger or smaller depending on what you're piping it on. So the circle, the V on top. And then when we pipe it, also get rid of the piping tips right away. The amount of times these end up in the dessert is quite a lot. So with this tip, then I can pipe the sail to create that nice effect like that. Or you can pipe long. Like so. Come on, the apple tart. First off, we're going to put a little bit of a garnish on the plate with the caramel sauce. So to get a nice line, everybody gets to practice their piping. I don't want to see squiggly lines. So I find it easiest to have a piece of parchment underneath. Start off the plate, get a stream, and just go nice and smooth. And then turn it, and go another one. And then
Beautiful.
get rid of that. But it keeps the line straight. When you're trying, same with when you're writing with chocolate, if you're trying to go really close to the page, you're more likely to shake. So if you let it fall down, you can get more control over the stream. So we'll get our apple tart right in the middle. And then we'll go in with our whipped ganache with our Honoré tip. But again, this could be changed. Maybe you do want to do a star tip. Maybe you want to pipe flour on it. Whatever you want to do. Try that practice round before service starts. So I'm gonna do just kind of the organic grain piping, just to fill it up. Because we're gonna cover it anyway with a nice tuile. And then we have our jelly. So this is an elderflower jelly. It just adds a little bit of interest to the plate. And think about when you're adding garnishes like this, think about the allergens already present in the dish. So this is using gelatin, of course, but our whipped ganache already has gelatin in it. But if our whipped ganache was, say, a dark chocolate ganache that didn't have gelatin, it was purely set with the chocolate itself, I wouldn't want to put gelatin on the plate just as a garnish, because that's just unnecessary. It's making the dish inaccessible for those that don't eat pork. So I would switch it maybe to an agar jelly, because it's vegetarian then. So think about what's already in the dish when you're thinking of garnishes. Don't add allergens just for beauty. It's not necessary. And then the last thing on this dish is just a little bit of the vanilla caramel, again for underneath our Earl Grey ice cream. It's a little chunky of a crumble. That's just a little bit for our ice cream to sit. And that'll get our Earl Grey ice cream. So again, very quick. Apple. Last up is our lemon. So the lemon probably has the most steps because we're going to brulee the lemon cake. Do we have a brush that is fibrous, not silicone? No. Does anybody else?
Looks familiar. Looks familiar.
Just these don't work too much for brushing on syrup.
I didn't know it was a thing yet.
Very good. This is
Of
more
course.
used for sauces. Of course. Yes, this is our last one. So, you'll grab your cake, your Swiss roll, and make sure that you put the seam side down. And then we're gonna brush it quickly with the syrup. Let's get these back in the fridge. They're getting a little bit soft. You can see the whipped cream squishing out. Brush it with our limoncello. This will help prevent the cake from burning immediately when we're torching it. And add that lovely lemon flavor.
Lemon what?
Limoncello syrup. So lemon liqueur.
Limoncello, okay.
Yeah. And then we have our sugar. How do you spell sugar? This one sugar? Okay. Put that back. Just in case it's salt. Nice amount on top. For this torch, it's a bit finicky. You have to open it all the way to turn it on. If you open it halfway, it will not turn on. And then we're going to quickly go in and give a little bit of caramel. Like so. Go right close to it. If you spend too long on it, you're going to heat up that whipped cream in the middle too much, and it's going to slide right out of it. And if you could grab a that are in so much space. You. So, it's a little soft. Bear with me. Place one. Scrape that off. Two. And then we're gonna go in with our whipped ganache. So this is our whipped ruby ganache with a large French star. And just do a couple rosettes. Oh, we got desserts. That's exciting. Let's see if it's an apple and a lemon.
One chocolate and one apple.
One chocolate, one apple. That's okay. We'll go right onto it right away. I'm almost finished. And then there's a lemon sauce from Sumi's mama. This one also gets the vanilla crumble for your ice cream base.
Salmon rich treble.
Just putting a couple dollops.
14?
Just everywhere.
14-1.
Don't go too light on them.
And that's lemon
One of
what?
the best parts.
The lemon sauce?
Yeah.
Lemon
Yeah,
sauce,
exactly.
lemon
I
sauce.
got mine back in February. They had like maybe $2 max, and my mom and I were going like, what?
Yeah, this is cheap. So remember, fluid gels, foams, it's free money. You're adding let's see, something value. I always forget the word, but it's perceived value. Perceived value. You make the dish look expensive by adding all of this volume, but you're adding air. The amount of ingredients in here is like 30 cents in this whole bag kind of thing. So you're making it look voluminous, but it's nothing in it. This is just lemon juice and a little bit of fluid gel, or gel creme roll. So it's again nice and cheap. And then do a chocolate twirl on there. Just prop it up like that, and then that'll have the almond ice cream. And again, if you have extra different pearls and stuff like that, any extra garnishes that you want to add to it, you can. And again, it's a blue plate, so I'm going to get my vinegar to go around the sides because you can see all that fingerprints and water spots. And then wipe off. Alright, any questions? So, we'll go on, service team, we'll make those plates up quickly. Then we'll go on to making one of everything. We'll put the ice cream on, I'll call back everybody over so we can taste everything.
So,
Hey, chef.